Hi everybody. There it is. Hi Mel. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it. I wasn't going to come on face to face today, but I feel so bad that everything was really late. So sorry about that. And hi Brina. Hi Kelly. Everybody knows my spooky eye. When I was replanting some trees the other day, apparently I must have been digging so hard that I ruptured a blood vessel in my eye. Hi Linda. And it was funny because rainy Wisconsin. Oh, I hope it clears up soon. We had really crazy fog and mist the past 2 days, and it cleared up luckily in the afternoon. But hi Marlene and Jean. When I went to school, my whole eye, like this whole side, was full red. It's much better than it was. And all the kids are like, what happened to your eye? I just told them I had an early Halloween costume. Hi Jenny. Hi Andrea. So I'm not going to chat too much. We are running a little bit late because I was supposed to have something done to the pool, but the pool people didn't show up. Again, a little frustrating. But anyway, 2 things before we start. Number 1, don't forget the Designer Series paper sale is on through, excuse me, October 31st. There are select Designer Series papers that are 15% off. And also through the 25th, I am offering free shipping with any order that is $50 and over. So you will pay for shipping. It is not a Stampin' Up! Sale. It is a Rachthestamper sale, and then I will reimburse you for your shipping. So if there's something you're interested in getting, I'm going to order some DSP. So without talking too much, I just wanted to face-to-face apologize that I'm running late today. So sorry about that. But we are going to get right into what we are doing. So I had a really fun idea, and I'm going to show you what my idea is featuring. It uses the stitched triangles. And I did a little bit of pre-cutting with this, only because I didn't want it to take too long, but I thought you could probably do it with pretty much any theme. I'm going to show Halloween, maybe Thanksgiving and Christmas, but definitely Halloween and Christmas. You could definitely throw Thanksgiving. You could make this for pretty much any time. I want to grab one more thing. I forgot. I had this idea, this part of the idea last night. I'm grabbing my wobblers, so hopefully this will all make sense. And I'm really hoping it actually turns out like how I have it envisioned in my head. So we'll see. Oh my gosh, you have snow in Wisconsin? I'm really kind of jealous. I hope we get some snow this year. I mean, as crazy as 2020 is, we might get a blizzard next week. You never know. And that's probably how the people in Wisconsin feel, because I think, didn't you guys get like a crazy snow just all of a sudden that you weren't expecting? So I'm going to put my microphone on, and when I flip you guys over, I will plug in. So without further delay in the spooky eye, here comes the Halloween card. I'm going to flip you guys around. And just look away for one moment if you get a little motion sick. All right, let me just plug. Planted. Okay, so you might be able to see a little bit of what's going on there. And I'm sure you know how it works. How much you want to bet the doorbell is going to ring now that I decided to do this live, but tough cookies. Okay, let me make sure my comments are on here. How come I can't see my comments? There they are. I was going to say, this is not fun. Okay, got my iPad set. All right, so I had this idea the other day, and I was watching someone work with these dies. Yes, they were working with these dies, and I will show you that another time because I thought that was a really fun idea that they shared. But I got this idea, and maybe it's not new, but it was new to me. I hadn't seen anything like it. To make a card with these triangle shapes. And I thought, what better than to use the plaid DSP. Now, I'm going to end up calling it wrong because I keep calling it plaid tidings, and it's not plaid tidings. That was the paper we had last year, and this year we have new plaid paper. And let me just double check here. No, it is plaid tidings. Holy cow, I'm calling it the wrong thing. So plaid tidings, which this ironically is on the 15% off sale. So you have lots of color choices. You could do this for, this one will make a really nice, between these two and then maybe one of these in there, you could make a really nice Thanksgiving card. Lots of Halloween options. In case you missed my bookmark the other day, I used this one and this one, one of the two of them. I use those. So lots of fun options, but you also don't really necessarily have to use plaid. So that's kind of what I am coming to with today, in that you could do some other stuff alongside of it. So I did do a little bit of cutting, and I did use so we have right angles. These are, I think these are isosceles because they're two long and one short. I don't know. I'm having, it's been a long day. I'm having a brain fart, but I'm using the second, third, and the fourth largest triangle. So I did do a little bit of cutting already, and I even did one where I cut one layered inside the other because I thought this would be really cute. So we're going to do the Halloween card first, okay? So one other thing, just to show you, you also can cut out a line. So you could take this and do one of two things with it. You could either cut out a lot of confetti if you wanted to make a shaker card with triangles, which would be cool, or you could line this up. So say this was your card base, and then you could cut out a little line that would be a see-through triangle line. So this is fun. Then you also have, which I've used this one before, this little triangle. It's kind of like a mosaic pattern, so that would be really neat. You also have a little banner, which you could do this twice, cut that out. So that actually cuts out the full banner. So you'll have a string line and then the little triangle. So you could write something on there. You could cut these. You could do these with plaid paper, with plain paper. It would be really, really fun. Lots of options with these, and I really like the fact that they're stitched. And one other thing I want to tell you, I do not own either of the coordinating stamp sets with these triangles, and I still find them very useful. So I did pick out some Christmas paper. I thought you could use these for Christmas. You could also, I even picked out some other paper. There is some from the autumn, oh my goodness, I just lost the name of that DSP, but anyway, I have one plaid, and then the gilded autumn. Those would be really pretty. This is just the back side. So we might try do one of these for fall, Christmas. We'll just see what happens. This one is another one I thought you could do for fall. You can kind of bring in all these nice neutral fall colors, which I thought would be pretty. So I'm going to move this to the side because we're going to do the Halloween idea of what I had first. So you could do this kind of one of two ways, and I just thought it would be fun to do something different for Halloween because everything is always like ghosts and ghouls. So you could say this was like Halloween / maybe fall or autumn, or people who don't necessarily celebrate Halloween. I don't really know who any of those people are, but I'm sure they're out there somewhere. So what I'm going to do for this is I'm actually going to go with, I think I'm going to do a orange base and a black layer, because I think it'll really make, oh geez, I'm so sorry about that. I think it'll really make all of the plaid DSP really pop. So I just have a little scrap of black, and then I'm going to do I already have I'm pretty sure this is the correct base card. Let me just double check. You know, whenever I think, and it's not, it's a little bit shorter, but that's okay. We're gonna make it work anyway. Let me just go with 4 1/4. Let me make sure this is right. You would think with all this time I had that I could have made sure things were properly set up, but you know, I wasn't doing that. So I'm going to trim this one down. So since our card measures 5, I'm going to do 4 3/4 by, I wonder if 4 should be enough. Let's just look and see. This is going to be a little bit smaller. I think that's good enough. So we're going to try this. So this is a slightly off-size card. So what I thought we could do, and as a matter of fact, just to show you what you can do with this, I'm going to run the long running triangle. I'm going to run it through this just to kind of give like a little bit of something. So we have this. I'm just kind of lining it up with the bottom layer, like so. And actually, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a side because I'm afraid it's going to end up cutting off. So I'm just lining this up here. I'm going to put a little piece of purple tape right there.
And I'm lining this with the corner and right here. Okay, so I'm going to run this through the Big Shot. And I have it just slightly skewed. I'll show you what I mean. So when I put it on, I just kind of slightly skewed the paper so it wasn't running straight through. So you'll have all these little black triangle pieces that you could use if you wanted to. So you could keep them for a shaker or something like that. And it did cut just close to the edge, but that's okay. No biggie. Just pull back on this. Those are only in there because that tape was on there. So put this here. Okay, and then this will go on the bottom. So the only other thing we really need are trunks. And I guess trunks can kind of be optional. So I guess it kind of depends on if you really feel like you want to have trunks for your trees or not. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of start lining some of these up. You can kind of put them different places, put some in front, some behind. I think I'm actually going to trade this one because we'll put a little see-through. Actually, we could put this little tree in here because that will fit right in there. That would be cute. But I think I might off-center this anyway. It's funny because these little tiny ones even almost look like candy corn. And then these don't all have to be flat, okay? So some of them can be flat, some of them can be popped. And I'll show you just what I mean in a minute because I want to do something fun with one of them. I think it'll be really cute. Here. Here. I think I'm going to keep this one out because I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. We'll put this one back here so it'll kind of look like it's a big tree even though it's not. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to glue these in place and then I'm going to put one on here like this and then we're going to add the last part to it, okay? So far, I won't say it's plain, but it's kind of just, it's not super exciting just yet. So I'm going to fold this in half. And again, this is just kind of an idea in my head. And you know how sometimes when we stamp together and then you create something and then you think, oh, you could also do blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue. Now, this bottom part is going to only have the holes in it. So I'm not going to put any down there because I don't want to kind of mess it up. So I'm just going to lay this on top. Okay, so there's that one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this one and this one over. I'm going to put some glue on the back. Like that. Okay. This one, where's my dimensionals? Just because it'll be more fun, everything's a little bit more fun if it has some layers to it. I'll put a dimensional on this one. And you could put one or two, just kind of depends on what you want to do. And I probably could have lined that little cutout piece up inside better, but that's okay. Put a little glue on this one. Like that. I'm going to move these three over. I'm going to keep this one right where it is so I can glue this one in place. So I remember how high it was. And also the nice part about the liquid glue is if you need to move it a little bit, you can, and it's not going to mess anything up. So here's this one. This one I'm going to slide in. Okay, this one we're going to put on glue dots. And then I'm going to try one more thing, just because I thought this would be kind of cute. Like that. Okay, so this I'm going to glue onto this other little piece. And I'm going to do my best to center it. So like I said, if you also wanted to go the route of, instead of these being like flat on the ground like sometimes trees are, if you wanted to have them so they had little trunks, you could cut out just little tiny squares of paper. Just, you could even use little scraps. So you know how when we like we trim cardstock pieces, so you could just cut little pieces out, put a little bit of brown on the orange if you wanted to, or brown on white, and then you could add those in. So I think this should work. Let me make sure it looks, yep, looks small enough. Okay, so I'm going to put my wobbly piece first off onto the back of my tree. So I just removed the sticker. Now I'm going to tell you, if Donna is kind enough to share where she ordered these, I'm fairly certain it was probably Amazon, but she sent me a whole bunch of these. So I'm going to put that there. We have to do one more thing though, and I had a greeting picked out because I figured it would be really cute because of the angle of it. Yep. So I'm going to stamp. So this is the Festive Corners, which I used the other day for the bookmarks as well, if you missed that. And I just have a little scrap of paper here, and really all I want is the Happy Halloween. So it doesn't have to have anything else. So if it does, I'm going to just kind of snip it down a little bit. But what you can do if you're looking to mask things, you can use a piece of Post-it tape, a little piece of old purple tape. Actually, I'm going to use the green because it's stickier, so I don't care about throwing it away. So I'm going to just cover that up because I don't want the dot or these words here. So I'm going to ink up my sentiment. Make sure it looks good. Okay. And, oops, hold on, there's a hair in there. Then I'm going to pull this off because you don't want that globby stuff there. And I'm just going to stamp this. And I do have a mat underneath of this thing here, so you want it whenever you're stamping photopolymer, you want to make sure you have something cushiony underneath. So I'm just going to give this a second to dry. Now I know I do have my little dot there. I probably should have masked that off, but that's okay. So I'm going to cut straight up. I'm going to go ahead and trim the bottom of this. There we go. And the same with the top. Just trying to get something that's kind of small. It doesn't have to be like tiny, but sort of small. Get rid of this before I get black ink everywhere. And now I'm going to do one more thing. So I'm going to take my pumpkin pie marker. So you could do this if you don't have a pumpkin pie marker. You do it with a blender pen. You could do it with the Stampin' Blends if you have it. And I'm just going to outline just the ends of the paper. And it's so funny, I know this is completely random, but how crazy is it? It was really, really chilly here, and now the spring peepers are out again. I mean, I don't even know. What the heck? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of glue right here in the center. Just a little. It doesn't have to be a whole lot. I'm going to pick up my sentiment. Just kind of press that on there. I want to make sure it's fairly even. Good. Okay, so then all we kind of have to do is figure out where do we want to put it. And I kind of like it because the orange and the plaid, you could put it, you know, somewhere different. You could omit one of these trees and put it there, but I think I'm going to pop it just right on top of this. I'm just going to pull the backing off of my wobbler. And I feel like this is pretty well lined up. Press really hard. Hopefully my ink is dry so I'm not smudging it. And there we go. So then you have like a little fun wobbler thing with a tree. Oh, thank you. Look at that, Melanie. You are so on top of it. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. So how fun is that? Just a little cute wobbler. Oh, goodness, hold on. This one got stuck. You know why? Because I probably didn't hold it still long enough and it got goofied underneath of there. There we go. But you have a little wobbler. So just bring something extra fun. And when you put this in the mail, it really only is probably about the same height as if you added 2 dimensionals. So you probably shouldn't need too much extra postage. Maybe like 1 extra stamp if you wanted to add it to it. But really kind of fun, just something different. This would be a really easy one to make. Quite honestly, even if you don't end up having the stitched triangles. And then I have an extra one I could always put on the inside too if I want to add a little sentiment. So you could add something right in here. like a little candy corn-esque thing. Now, if I put this one in by itself, I definitely would put a little trunk here, and then you could write your Halloween message. But this would be something easy you could do. So again, even if you don't necessarily have the triangles, you could just do it with little pieces of triangle paper that maybe you might cut up depending on how it is that you shape it. However, the stitching really makes it so much more fun. So I think this is cute. So that was card number 1. So I'm going to just slide this up here. Now, you don't necessarily have to do the same thing with all of your cards. So all of your cards don't need to be identical. But I thought Gather Together and Beautiful Autumn would both be really nice if you wanted to do a Thanksgiving card. So I'm going to go ahead and do the Christmas. So I'm just going to pull these out, and I'm going to show you just how I'm going to line these up. So we're going to just do, I'll save those just in case. You never know. I could use them for a shaker. So we're going to do Christmas. So I have a couple of pieces here that I'll start with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just do one. You can fit about 3 across depending on what you want to do. So you could probably do 1 up and 1 down here. So I'm going to do those. I'll do a couple here, and then I'll just do a couple of just plain paper pieces. So all I'm going to do is run this through. Oopsie, that one moved. Some of these, I know as much as we complain about this magnetic plate because it moves, I don't have the new plate that's fully magnetic, but I don't think it's holding things down as well as originally anticipated. So unfortunately, even though this one jumps, I mean, you can still tape it and it is pretty sturdy. So there is one. So that was the big one. And then we'll do, I really like this one. It's a really pretty paper. Put one here and here. And then I'm still going to do, I think, I'll do a little one and a medium one from the other plaid. And then the nice part about this one is, just because of the, I guess, I don't know what you want to call it, like the tones and colors in the paper, we're going to add in, and I'm going to grab a piece really quickly. We're just going to add in just a crumb cake tree, because I think it'll be really neutral. So I'm going to put those 2 down, and I'm going to grab a little piece of crumb cake. You could do crumb cake, you could do Sahara sand. Let's see if this one looks like it's going to fit. Yep, close enough. Okay, so I'm going to slide this down. See if I can cut this without cutting off too much. Okay. All right. My Fitbit just congratulated me for getting some exercise. I guess it thinks rolling things through a die cut machine is exercise. So see, everybody who thinks we're not exercising, we really are. They just don't realize it. How fit our wrists are, right? Okay, let me move this over. So for this one, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with a base. I think I'm going to go with a crumb cake base. But then I'm going to do a cherry cobbler layer, and I'm going to make sure this time that they actually are the correct size. So that one definitely is. You could also do this in Sahara sand if you wanted to. It would be really pretty. And let's see. You know what? I'm going to show you something, because I just noticed this little piece has some lines in it, and I'm going to show you something else. Maybe you've never done this before, so we're going to add a little bit of extra to it. So this is going to be our base. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to scoot this over. I'm going to put all these here so I can show you exactly what I want to do before we get started. I'm going to make sure this measures, first of all, 4 by 5 1/4. Let's see. It's 5, so that's not too bad. And 5 by 4. Let's see what this is going to look like on here. It'll be a little bit thinner. Okay, so this card is going to be one of those ones where we're kind of working with our scraps, okay? So I have a couple lines here already. Now, if you have some paper that maybe you were going to save to use for something else, but for some reason that something else never ended up happening, we're going to use this piece today. So what I'm going to do is, just to make this even, I have some score lines here. This is like a 1/2 inch. We'll add 1 inch, 1 1/2, 2. This one kind of throws us off because we have a longer one here, so we'll change this to quarters. So a quarter, a quarter. I'm going to add 1 here in the middle, add 1 here. So what I'm doing is I'm basically just taking this paper that I probably otherwise would have put into the recycle bin because it was kind of like it had some scoring, but it really wasn't scored enough that you could notice. And I'm just going to use it as a background. So I'm adding in a few in kind of in between spaces. So we have just some score lines on here. Nothing fancy. I kind of just started going with it. So we're going to put this down as our base. Oops, sorry. Forgot, should have scored this while I was at it. So 5 1/2, 8 1/2. So I'm going to score this at 4 1/4. All right, so this will be our base. If you want to bring out the scoring a little bit more, you can even go over it with, sponge it with crumb cake on, or not crumb cake, with cherry cobbler. This one needs to be cut down just a smidge more. I think now with all the scoring, it kind of slightly changed the size of it. Let's say 4. We're going to take this down to 3 3/4. Let's see. That looks good enough. I think that looks good. Okay, so same thing here. So we just basically added a bunch of score lines. If there's a side of it that you like better than the other, you could put it down so it'll be covered more by the trees, and then you'll see this in the background. You could even change it so you have the more ribbed version on this side, so you have it the instead of the depressed lines that it's sticking up, which kind of does look cool. I think I'm going to go with that side. I'm going to do that one. So I am going to put this down with liquid glue because it has, you can hear, it has some ridges. That way it'll stick in where it's supposed to go. I'll lay this down approximately evenly. I'm kind of giving it a shift back and forth so I make sure that that glue gets in all the grooves and whatnot. So there's that. You can see those on there. Looks pretty neat. Okay, so then all we're going to do is kind of just line up our trees. So same thing again. We do want to have a tree. And the nice part about these lines is it kind of almost can look like snow lines depending on what you wanted to do with it. But we're going kind of want to have a tree that has something in it for our sentiment. So we can bring this one over here. And this one can be with the crumb cake tree. We have our little tiny tree can go in the back. So basically same thing again. You're just going to figure out where you want to put your tree. So I'm going to go ahead and put a couple of them down. Make sure I have my dimensionals here. I'm going to put my glue down. I'm kind of trying to think. I'm thinking, what do I want to pop my tree up on? Or my sentiment, I should say. I almost wonder if it would look cute to do this one because it's a different plaid. So I might do that. So I'm going to move this one off. We're going to glue this one down first. So really, again, for this card, super minimal in the stamping department. This could go for absolutely any theme whatsoever. Just kind of make sure that's kind of straight. But it really could be, you could make this as a card for a guy because it isn't really, it's not frilly. It doesn't have any foof to it. But if you wanted to make it foofy, you could add some glimmer paper. So that would have been a cool addition to the Halloween card, is to add a little glimmer paper. That one I shouldn't have done yet. Hold on. Hold please. Let's see. We'll put this one up. You can put things above and behind, so it kind of looks like the illusion of different size trees. I think I'm going to put this one up on dimensionals. Let's see. But, I mean, very simple. Simple card. Doing a lot of recycling for maybe some of our products that we haven't used, that we were going to use for something and we just forgot. I did put my dimension a little bit off over there, but I think that's okay. Put one here in the front. this other little tree. This one, I think, because I have, I was going to say I'll put this one back here. Kind of off to the side. And this was the one we were going to make our little wobbler piece. So I'm going to save that. I'm going to put one more of these just for the heck of it. Since I have it, I'm going to put these on the inside just so you can see what that looks like. So it depends on if you're a righty or a lefty. So if you're going to be writing more, I would say stick with, if you're going to be left hand writing, put it on this side. But since I'm right-handed, I'll put it over here. And you could even do something as simple as this. And I'm going to grab just a little darker. Grab your soft suede marker. And you could just put a little trunk under there if you wanted to. And then we're going to we'll put one more tree here. Put this one right here. I'll add a nice little sentiment on the inside as well. So this is just a teeny bit crooked. I just want to see if I can straighten this out a little bit. There we go. There's those two. And then this one is the one we wanted to pop up. So let me grab where did I put them? My one more wobbler. So same thing again. And I know Donna had told me once before, I know people have very specific rules on which side of this that they want to put down. But she told me she thought you got a little bit more bounce when you put this as the part that was popping out. So we'll see. One versus the other. I did the other one that way. I'm going to go ahead and pull this off. And then we'll add our sentiment. Let's see. I think I'm going to do it right here. So I'm just giving this a good press just to make sure it's adhered nicely. Okay. Super fun. Okay, only thing we need for this is a little sentiment, and I'm going to stick with the same thing. So I'm going to grab, I have three different ones. I'm going to see which one fits. I'm just going to stick with crumb cake. So it's like a really, I don't know, what would you call that? Like a country Christmas card. I'm using the moose. You could even add the moose in if you wanted to. You could add him like back here in the background, stamp him. That would be fun. So I have my happiest of holidays, and I'm going to do this in soft suede. Okay, and I have a really thin, this is just a piece that I trimmed from. That turned out cute, so I'm going to leave that there just for a moment to dry up. And you know what I'm going to do while I have this out? I'm going to add this to the inside. I'm just going to add this since it's kind of like a quiet card. We'll let that dry for a moment. It says, enjoy the stillness of the season. So we can just put this right over here by our trees. That way it'll give you plenty of room to write your notes. So really very appropriate. Very nice, relaxing card. Let me move this over. I think this should be good by now. And my snips. And I'm not going to do anything fancy. So no like fancy edge trimming. I'm going to make this the same way. I'm going to just trim really, really close. So it's like a really, because I'm never good at stamping on something that's really, really tiny. But I do a pretty good job of trimming it down. But I know they have those stamp sets where you can stamp on the tiniest strip of paper. That just never really ever works for me. So I'm going to just do the same thing. I'm going to put a little bit of adhesive on here. Just like that. And we'll just add this right here. I'm going to press this down so I can push this so I can make sure it's centered. You probably could do this ahead of time if you wanted to, but you know, I do things a little backwards sometimes. There we go. And I'm going to let that set for a minute before I give it a crazy spin. But look at that, like a really, really simple card. Super, super easy. So there is a great, simple Halloween. maybe if you have someone you want to make some cards for and you were like, oh my gosh, Halloween's next week and I want to make it special even though they might not be doing necessarily the usual things. I think this is an adorable card. And again, you could even use the black glimmer paper if you wanted to cut out like a sparkly tree in the background. So I think I might make another one of those and put a sparkly tree in the background for that. That would be really fun. We also have the blue glimmer paper. So if you weren't maybe into necessarily the crumb cake and the red and the green, you could even make it a Hanukkah card. Would be pretty simple. We do have, I believe, one stamp set that has Happy Hanukkah in it. Now granted, I don't exactly know when that starts, but I feel like it is towards the end of November, if I'm not mistaken. But it would be a great card if you did your trees in blues. And again, you don't necessarily have to do them in blue plaid, but you could just do them in different shades of blues. Would be really pretty. Be a great winter card, maybe for someone, for a birthday card, or just like a pick-me-up card. But I thought this was really, oh, you said a star on the wobbler. You know, I do have a star, but I'm trying to think. I feel like it's all the way over there. And my cord is not going to stretch that far. And I should have brought, oh, look at this. Here I do have a star. This one's a little bit brighter than the one that comes in the, oh my goodness, what is that? The medley. That has some really nice stars in it. But this is all the trimmings. So, you know what? I try to be very pleasing here. You know, I like to make things happen. And look at that. There's the pool people. I'm going to put this one right here. They're late. And it's completely dark out. How would they even see? I know I'm not expecting you guys to answer, but I just think it's kind of funny. So let me put this down. Hold on. This is stuck. There we go. There is your star. That is a good idea. It does look really, really cute. And you could even put, I don't think we have any black stars, but you probably could do this with your Stampin' Blend. Let's try it. Hold on. Let's see if it works. So I have my black and I have my dark Stampin' Blend. We'll see if it works. Probably, if worst case scenario, if it doesn't work, you could also use a Sharpie. Just because, you know, it's fun. So I'm going to grab this. Hopefully it's dry enough that it's not going to smudge. When I touch it. Okay, there you go. Isn't that adorable? Oops, that was my extra tree from the inside. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I am going to have to cut you off because I do have to go answer the door. Thank you all so very much for watching today, for joining me late. I truly appreciate it. I will post all the supplies and everything to make this card as soon as I wrap everything up. So thank you guys for watching. Don't forget, free shipping with $50 or more order ends on the 25th of October. I hope you guys have a great evening, and thank you so much for stopping by.